Hey, so this is about how to replace a washer in a faucet that's leaking. This particular faucet is in our bathtub in our bathroom, which is right behind me here. So let's get started. Okay, these are the tools that you need. This turns off the water to the house, and a screwdriver, pair of these plier things, and a wrench. In addition to the tools, you will also need a washer. This is the whole point. We're replacing the washer. And in this case, it's a 1/4 inch flat. And I also have here a number 0 flat. This is very slightly smaller than the 1/4 inch. And got them at Stoneway Hardware. And then this little O-ring here in addition. Okay, to turn off the water of the house, this is the cover to the valve right here. So you grab it with the pliers here and pull it up and move it aside. This exposes inside. There's the meter thing. The actual valve is underneath this flap. There it is. So we turn it with the tool to turn it with. Put it on and we twist it away from the house to turn the water off. There we go, it's off. This is the bathtub that we're going to replace the washer in, the faucet, you see it here. Closer view. This is the actual culprit. Notice the big screw in the middle. We're going to unscrew that first. And see it leaking there? That's why we're doing it. That darn leak. So first I'm going to unscrew the screw, and then I'm going to take off this piece, and then I'm going to unscrew this piece. And then there will be the retaining nut under there, which we will see shortly. So we're using the screwdriver here. Before I do that, actually, I want to get some of that water that's accumulated out so we don't have any wetness to deal with. Okay, closing it again. Just unscrew it. It's a normal screw, nothing too fancy here. Take this guy out. And this guy comes out next. And of course, since this is plumbing, it's not exactly loose. I'm going to have to work it a little bit and maybe end up prying it a little bit, but it should come off shortly. In my attempt to outsmart this guy, I use this very clever tool to pry it out. This piece, which is sticking, which is just the handle, and should slide right off when you take the screw out. So because I was so clever, my clever tool here, the prying tool, is now stuck inside this. I'm going to use a hammer. You can't do any work without a hammer, apparently, to remove the stuck tool. So, are we having fun yet? Hammering the hell out of this thing does not get it out. I moved these guys back so they're not in the way of holding it, but look, this does not release it at all. So I'm going to use a little WD-40 in here. Try to... Hold on! Okay, WD-40 to loosen it. After removing the handle, we have to remove this piece here, which is tricky to get a hold of because of that conical shape, but using these guys here, I'm able to twist it off, and once it's off, that will expose the next step. Okay, it's loose enough to remove by hand now. I take it off, and this is what we were after the whole time. We'll try to focus on it. You can see that nut there around the end. This is the faucet stem, is what it's called, and that is the retaining lock nut that we're going to use the pliers, no, not the pliers, the wrench to remove that one. Okay. A finer point on this thing, before I actually remove the stem, I'm going to twist the valve so that it is exactly halfway between open and closed position. I will do that using this tool here called the pliers. So you can feel it when it's, get a feel for when it's all the way open. That's it. Now move it about like this. That's about halfway. Okay, the next step is using the wrench to remove that retaining nut. Here we have our basic, this is the seam, here's the wrench. So we're going to get this thing off using the wrench, loosen it up. That actually came out quite easily, surprisingly. We can twist it off, and that's interesting. The stem came off with the nut. Huh, how about that? And there's the old washer that we see is not in good shape that we're going to be replacing. So we're going to take the stem out of the nut here. Okay, I've got the stem removed. This is it, the stem. There's the washer. It's held in place by a screw. So I'm going to just unscrew the screw, take the washer out, replace it with a new one. Also, see there's an O-ring here. The O-ring is, let's see if you can see this. Try to focus. Maybe you can see it there going around here. That little rubber O-ring, it's black, so it blends in well, but I'm going to replace that too. So I'm holding this thing. Notice the rag. I'm using a rag so that I do not damage the soft metal on the valve stem as I unscrew the screw that's holding in the washer. This is the one I just removed. Pretty bad shape. You can see it's, yeah. And I'm going to replace that one with this guy, a new one. Here we see the new washer inside the valve stem. It looks a lot better. Now we put the valve stem back into the hole in the faucet where the water comes out. And then we start putting the lock nut back on and do everything that we just did in reverse. So we take it, put it in, and we get the retaining nut and get that back on. So we have to go backwards to get the thread through the valve stem, and then forwards to get it to go onto the pipe fitting. The stem is back in place, the lock nut is back on. We put this thing, which is purely decorative, and screw him back on. And don't screw him on tight, just leave him a little loose because we're going to have to do this again in a few years. So get the handle, stick them on, figure out the position you want. This will be closed. We want the closed position to be about like this. So that's how we'll do it. Put the screw in there. And it did occur to us as we were doing this reassembling that I forgot to replace the O-ring. So I could take it apart again, put the new O-ring on, but I'm not doing that because I'm not a professional. And I don't feel like it. Okay, we'll see how this goes. If it's still leaking when we're done, the next time we take it apart, we'll replace the O-ring. Got it? Here we go. Back here, we're going to remove the cover. And go back here to the valve for the water for the house and turn it back on. Okay, done. I notice I like to use the editorial "we" when I'm making this video. I'm not sure why, but we like it. Okay, here we are, and it looks like it's not leaking. That is amazing. Turn on the hot, works, turn it off, no leak. Oh, there's a drip. You see that? There's a drip. Turn this off harder. A drip. Any more drips? There's one. So we can't say categorically that this has been a success. We cannot. But is it better than it was when we started? Maybe. I think so. See, the drips are not that common. And we can even twist this one harder. Any more drips? Wow. If we can go 10 seconds without a drip, I'm going to call it good. Dude, thank you for watching.